Hello, gay men. Welcome to Coming Inside Out. I'm your host, Brian James, along with my co-host, Mark Dembo. Hey, Mark, good to see you.
You as well, Brian. It's been a minute.
It's been a while. We took a little summer hiatus.
Yeah, been a lot going on. I know it's
Yes.
been a busy time, and but I know I found over the time that we have not had a new episode come out. What it's been, I think
Since June.
three. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Here we are, and it's the end of July already.
I
Yes. I want to say it's been really heartening though that many listeners have reached out and said, "Hey, where are you
know.
guys?" So it's good to know that people are out there listening, and we're glad to be back.
Yes. It was part vacation, part me, part moving. There was a whole lot of moving parts to it, but here we are. So,
Well, life always has a lot of moving parts and pieces, and yeah, how are you doing these days?
I'm doing all right. I moved, so I'm in a new area, still Southern California, but I moved, so I'm still in the process of unpacking. But yes, I'm settling in.
Yeah. Well, cool. So I want to go back to that because I know just in terms of like where you are now, because I know you and I were talking about this, and now you're in an area that may have a little bit more hopefully going on for you. But I also, just before we kind of jump into some of those things, I want to thank several people who did write in. We asked for, what topics would you like to hear
Yeah.
about, and there were a number of things that came up. So we'll try and do a couple of things. We'll kind of talk a little bit about those and give our perspectives. And we're also looking at bringing on some additional guests that can help us dive deeper into some of those topics. So, hey, as always, if there's things that you'd like to hear about, please write us at cominginsideout@gmail.com or on any of those topics. If you've got thoughts, we want to hear from you guys as well, and
Yes,
be able to share everybody's perspective.
absolutely. I'm going to jump into one thing because I put this on the top of our talking points. And I was watching, I think it was a TikTok, or if they're called reels or videos or whatever they're called. But I follow this gay guy. He's probably in his 50s. And he did this post. And it didn't really dawn on me until I listened to it. But he said, hey, the new Superman movie is coming out. And in the 70s, when the first Superman movie came out, I think it was 78 or whatever the year it was, not the original in the 50s, but the one in the 70s came out. He said he went to the movies with his family and friends, and that was when he knew he was gay. Superman comes on the screen. He's wearing tights. He's wearing like the red underwear, and he's all buffed out. And he's like, that was my moment of knowing I was gay. So he said, now in 2025, here this new Superman movie is coming out, and these kids are going to go into the theater and they're going to see Superman on the screen, and that's going to be their like moment where they have same-sex attraction. I thought, oh, that is so interesting to think of it that way. It's like I didn't have that moment with Superman, but I told you in the past I had that moment with Bobby Ewing from Dallas.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. Well, now I feel like I need to go and see the new
Yeah.
Superman movie. I haven't seen it yet, but that's the question. I think we've talked a little bit about this before, but for so many of us, the question comes up, when did you know you were gay, right? And it and I don't know about for you, but when I think back over my life when I was a kid, there were all those little things, those little
Yeah.
signals, right? Um, some hot guy in a movie or a TV show, or I mean, for me, I think I've talked about this. I remember when I was a kid at the pool in the summertime, and
Yeah.
found myself checking out the lifeguards in their
Yeah.
speedos, but I think those signals that were there, but you just, for whatever reason, didn't
Make the
really make a
connection.
connection,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, because it was so taboo to have those feelings that
Yeah,
even
yeah,
part of you recognizing them and part of them pushing them away at the same time. So
Right, right. And now, I'm wearing, my shirt here from Provincetown,
yeah,
and,
yes.
the rainbow chairs. And it's like, in fact, I was out grocery shopping earlier before we were recording this, wearing this shirt. And it's like, I've got my rainbow watch band that's like saying,
Love
hey,
it.
this is
Yes.
who I am,
Yes. Well,
This
the
is who I
Superman
am.
movie may be birthing a new generation of gay people. All
Yeah.
right.
Well, let me get, yeah. Yeah. And then there's like Batman and Robin. I remember when I was kids, the TV show, and everybody always talked about, Robin was gay.
Oh, I don't. Okay. The 60s or whatever that
I'm not that.
year was, I don't know.
Well, yeah, I think it was actually the
They
late
were
'60s when
reruns. They
that
were
show was on.
reruns. Yes. I'm not that old either, but yes, I was watching.
But yeah, I think it was the late '60s when
Okay.
when
All
when
right.
that show originally aired. But anyway, yes,
Well,
yeah.
you had posted on our Facebook page, and anybody that is not on our Facebook page, Coming Inside Out, you can log on there, request to join. I think we have 100 and some odd members on there right now, but you had posted on there topics of discussion, and a couple people wrote in. We had someone write in saying reestablishing relationships with their kids. Someone else asked us to talk about gay on a budget. Someone was looking for wisdom in dating, how to attune my BS meter, and then someone just asked about dating in general. But yes, you and I were talking offline. When I moved, I decided, because I was in a bedroom community that really was not a gay community. When I moved to this area about 35 miles away, I thought, well, this maybe is my opportunity to finally start dating, where somebody, when I log online, isn't 20, 30 miles away. They're actually close by. So I moved. I thought, okay, let me get unpacked and get myself settled. And I went online and some of these dating apps, and sure enough, there's people hundreds of feet from me. I'm not,
Hey, I've had where I live now in my new place. I've had times I log on and I see people zero
yeah,
feet away from
they're
me.
under your,
And I'm like, what are you? Are you here in my bed with me?
yes,
Where are you?
they're under,
It's like I'm looking for you. I don't see you. Where are you?
that is too funny. Well, in the how to attune the BS meter, you and I were joking about this because I'm newer to all the corresponding with everybody, and everybody has their own likes, their dislikes, and I was sharing with you that I was chatting with a guy that I was married to a woman for 30 years. I do not want to date a man, a feminine man. Nothing wrong with a feminine man. This is just me personally. I was with a very feminine woman for 30 years. I want to date a man. And I was going back and forth for a couple of days with this guy, and his last text message to me was, "Do you have any kinks?" And I was joking because I'm someone once called me a basic bitch. I don't really, haven't been doing enough to develop any kinks. So I was jokingly said, "Oh, like pup masks and leather this or whatever like that." And he was like, "Oh yeah, that, but other stuff too." And he went into a list of his kinks, and it really kind of threw me for a loop because some of this stuff I don't even know exists until somebody brings it up to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it's been interesting to get new exposure to some of these things. So I don't know, attuning the BS meter. I guess there's a lot of shit obviously that goes on these apps, but it's also for me just wow, just trying to find somebody that I can connect with. That I don't know. It's finding it difficult. I've been here almost a month. And I still haven't met someone in person yet. And I've been
Yeah.
actively trying.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it can be challenging, and we were talking again a little bit offline, about this in terms of, well, when the question about, what are you into, what are your kinks, what's this, what's that, um, one of the things that I find, uh, maybe a little refreshing in terms of within the gay community is that you can it is totally fine and acceptable to talk about those things.
Yes.
I'm not saying, it's not about what you're into or what you're not into, and everybody's got, it's like, hey, if you're, what did you say, Brian? What you refer to yourself as? What'd you say?
Oh, a basic
Um,
bitch.
a basic
That's what I
bitch.
was
I
told.
mean, hey, okay, nothing wrong with being a basic bitch, right? And some people are going to be into whatever, BDSM and
Yes.
pup masks, and okay, fine. Um, and just the fact that you can kind of surface those things and have those discussions. I mean, I think back I mean, granted, in my straight life, it'd been years and years and years and years since I was actually dating, and even then, it was a little bit different. But just even in casual conversation, you didn't talk about that kind of
No.
stuff
You don't talk about
generally, right? Unless you're some part of, some underground, community. Whereas in the gay world, it's much more common to just, hey, talk about that stuff, right? Even if you're not looking for a hookup, it's like, hey, what are you into, kind of thing.
yes.
Um, and it's interesting too. I mean, how do you meet people? Um, there's the apps, and then it depends on what app you're using, and maybe we could like spend some time. I don't know. Find maybe when the guest we can talk about. Certainly, I'd love to find a dating expert in the gay world and come on and maybe talk about some real advice, not just from
Yes.
you and me here.
Yes.
But I think the thing about the question about how do you tune your BS meter. I mean, I certainly don't know that I've got the perfect answer to it, other than you can. I find you can usually tell when somebody is just BSing you,
I
right?
think over, I think so. I was talking to a guy and it seemed very, to me, what I consider normal dialogue going back and forth, and then the misspellings and then the pronunciation of words. And I was like, wait a second, this is kind of sounding off. And then it was all this, oh, honey, oh, honey, oh, honey. And I'm like, what? And it just went from sounding like a normal text exchange to just getting odd. And then I think to myself, okay, this can't be a real person. But it's like you're investing, even if you're investing 10 minutes or 20 minutes, or you're going back and forth with each other 15 times, it's like, why are these people wasting your time? They're getting something out of it, obviously, to waste your time. But I don't know. Ugh. Yeah.
Also depends on what app you're on.
Yes, that's true too. But people pay to get on these apps. People pay to get on Match, and they have
Yeah,
zero
well, and I
intention
like
of.
so in terms of for you, I mean, like there's a big difference if you're on Hinge or Match versus Grinder or
Yes.
Sniffies,
But you
right?
still
I
see a
mean,
lot of the same faces.
you do, but I mean, I think again, Grinder, hey, it's a hookup app.
Yes. Yes.
It's like one of the standard questions on Grinder. What are you looking for? That's like
Don't you put that
usually
in your
like
profile though? Don't you put in your
so.
profile
Oh,
what you're looking for?
yes, but sure, but people either don't read profiles. A lot of
Yeah.
profiles, but that's still kind of, you think about the what's the typical Grinder conversation? Hey, sup? Not too much. How about you? Right?
Yeah.
And then it's
Hosting?
what are or well, sometimes it's that, and then what are you looking for? And it's like I get those questions. I'm like, it's like, well, maybe I'll find the answer to world peace on here. But then I remind myself it's Grinder.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well,
what do you think I'm looking for? What are you
maybe
looking for?
in your notes section, you just type something out, you copy it, and then you just paste it.
Right. Oh yeah,
So
yeah,
you don't.
exactly. Well,
So you
well, not that I've been on Grind. Not that I would know how it works, but I've heard that you can save
Oh, you
replies, and
can.
there's
Oh,
a
I didn't
little
know that.
oh yeah, and there's a little icon that'll bring up your saved replies, and you just
Oh, that's
so
hilarious.
I've heard. I wouldn't have any firsthand experience with that.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That is so
But
funny. Well, I'll look
yeah,
into that because I need a template
yeah,
response.
yeah, yeah. But um, yeah, I think the other part of this in terms of like I don't know, meeting people is getting out,
Yes.
into gay spaces, whether it's a gay, certainly the bars, if that's your scene, but I don't know about how it is, where you are now. I would imagine now you're certainly, in downtown LA, meetup.com, and you can find all different groups for different interests. I know you've talked about it in the past, Brian, right? Like trying to find some of those groups. Um, I know, like I've talked about here, like I went a while back to this. I found this group, this gay men's drawing group, naked
Okay.
drawing group, and it wasn't necessarily about going and looking for. It was about getting myself out into other gay spaces, meeting other gay men, and there's a couple of guys I met there that I've become friendly with. And I think the more you can find things like that, that's how you can, start to get out from just the, if you're not looking for the, hey, I'm looking for a quick hookup,
Yeah.
but I want to meet people, right?
Yes. Yes. Well, I'm gonna share something with you. A couple weeks ago, I went to one of the bars down here with a buddy of mine, gay bar. We walk in, and this guy was wearing nothing but a harness and a jock strap, but his jock strap was huge. It looked like the beak of like a bird. It was just sticking way out, and it was this massive jock strap. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. It's like didn't look like a stuffed animal, but it was something. Go to the bar, getting a drink. This other guy walks by. He's wearing like one of those jock straps we used to wear in like high school, one of like the meshy netted kind of
An
ones.
athletic support,
Yes,
a true athletic supporter. Yes.
but it was huge. It was huge. The pouch was massive, and I was like, "What does this guy have stuffed in that? What is that?" We get our drink, we go outside, and there's like a dozen of these guys, and they all have these massive pouches where their junk is. And my buddy says to this guy standing next to us, he's like, what is that? And the guy said, oh, you should go talk to one of those guys. They'd be happy to share with you what it is. And we said, well, what's in it? And he said, it's them. Go talk to one of them, and they'll tell you about it. So we walk over to this guy, and he's like has this massive leather tied up thing, and we're like, okay, what's going on with this? And the guy's like, oh, I'd never heard of this before, so this is shock value to me. These people have saline drips that they have go into their groin, and it turns their penis into this massive thing, and their balls are like the size of cantaloupes, and it's all saline. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, if you've ever seen that before.
Okay,
It was shock value.
okay. I mean, maybe I've been under the under a rock, but no, I have not. And I'm like, that can't be comfortable.
No, because the one
And I'm
guy
also,
pulls
yeah. Go
his
ahead.
the one guy pulls his jock strap down and lifts up his penis, and because it has all this saline in it, his pee hole is all the way down the side of this thing. Like it was so.
How is that even? How is that attractive? What?
So
And
nasty.
I'm thinking to myself, okay, so if your dick is full of saline,
Yes, it's not usable.
right? Like, can
Yeah.
you even get hard? Can it
Well,
like?
I don't know. Look it
I
up.
mean,
Look
what's
it
the
up.
what?
I never even knew that
What do you
existed.
what do you do with that?
I think it's just for show. I think it's just like maybe
I
women's
mean,
breast implants, that this is like a
I
male
guess,
implant.
but well,
I looked it
hey,
up
you know what?
online.
Again, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. You know what? It's like if that's what somebody's into,
Yes. Yes.
as my
No
grandmother would
judgment.
say,
No
sei
judgment.
gesund.
Yes. No judgment, but yes, shock value to me. I didn't know that that
Yeah.
was a thing, but that was the
Wow.
night at this bar. That's what the people were there to see. So it was quite interesting.
All right. Okay. Because again, look, in all honesty, see, no, if I'm gonna look at a guy's dick, I want the real thing. I don't
Yes.
want some fake saline filled
It looked like this
artificialness.
massive sea cucumber. It was so weird. It was just, yes. All right. Next on the
uh,
list.
yeah, yeah,
I have some feel good stuff to talk about. You know, when you and I first started doing this podcast together, I told you about a morning email that you get from
yeah,
tut.com, and it's from the
yeah.
universe, and it's personalized. Hey, Mark, and it gives you, or hey, Brian, and it gives you a morning motivational thing to start your day with. There's another guy. He actually wrote us an email, and I'm just going to read the first part of his email. He says, Hey, Brian and Mark, I had to pause during your last episode when you both were talking about fostering a sense of belonging for gay dads and guys quietly exploring who they really are. That scene, two dads unpacking truth, challenge, and family, felt like those nights in Buenos Aires when I realized my own journey needed to be more honest. Your approach is real. It made me wish more people got to hear what queer life looks like when you're trading hiding for a one-way ticket. So I thought that was a nice email, and he gave a couple links, and I wanted to share these links because I actually signed up for them myself. His name is Ken Krell, and he has two things that he offers. One is the Daily Hug, and it comes in an email from the Soul Council, and it's a personalized morning affirmation. So I signed up for that. So anybody who's looking for something to wake up to, and rather than reading about the news or what your work emails are all about, you wake up in the morning, and if you're going to look at your phone, the Daily Hug. Another site that he offers is the Pride Nomad Letter. And it's an email that comes out once a week, and it talks all about LGBTQ businesses, lifestyles, travel. And so I signed up for that, and I'm finding that to be
Oh, I love.
something nice. Rather than getting on and seeing all this news that we're seeing,
Oh yeah,
like
yeah,
getting
yeah.
on and reading about something different. So
Yeah,
I'm
no,
enjoying
that's great, and thank you, Ken, for writing in and sharing that stuff. It's great to hear about that, and again, we want to hear more of that. We're here. In fact, Brian and I were talking about this before we hit the record button today. That look, we're not here to give advice. Who are we, right? We're
it.
just two guys trying to figure out life as we go and share our experiences and share resources with all of you. So thank you for writing in on that. And just picking up on that, it is in the world of craziness that we live in these days. And I'm not going to start going in down a rabbit hole of whatever the latest news headlines are. We've got to find those ways to balance things out, and I think it hits. I find it hits really hard, I think, for guys like us that are in a state of transition in our lives, right? Living a whole new way that we haven't lived before. While you've got all this other, there's all that tension associated with that. Some of it's good,
Yeah.
some of it's hard, right? But it's whether it's good, but it's a lot of stress, it's a lot of tension in your life. And And then when you've got everything else going on in the world around you, it can really, really feel overwhelming.
Yes.
And I know I have found I used to be a news junkie, reading two newspapers. I mean, back, even before the internet, reading two New York Times, Wall Street Journal, cover to cover every day, watching TV news, reading magazines. I can't do that anymore.
No.
I very rarely now will turn on television news. Used to be a Rachel Maddow junkie. I can't watch it. I just, it's, because even though it's like, oh yeah, I might agree with a lot of what they're saying, it's just too much. And it's just, look, their job is to get eyeballs, to get readers. So, and there's a lot of just really, really bad stuff that's happening. And I think we've got, it's like you got to find that balance. You want to stay informed and know what's going on, but then you also have to live your life. And I think having tools, having resources like the resources from Ken that you just shared can be so helpful. The other thing that I do now, I use ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I've set up a morning and evening ritual with my good friend Chat. And you can even do voice prompts, and you can like tell what kind of voice do you want ChatGPT to respond to you with.
I've never had
like actual talking to you. So it's not just text.
I didn't know that was an option.
So yeah, and it's I find it really helpful. I start my morning, I'll say, "Hey, good morning," and it's got a list of questions. How are you feeling today? What do you want to, what's your number one intention for the day? What are you grateful for today? At the end of the day, kind of the same thing, kind of daily routine questions that it, as simple as it is, I find for me, it helps ground me and focus me. And even in the craziness of our times makes you realize, well, there's still goodness out there. There's still good things. There's good people. And there's so much we can still do in our daily lives, small things that can make a difference. So
yes,
I think it's really, really important, that we find those ways to support ourselves, and that self-care
absolutely
is so crucial.
Along your chat GPT giving you like questions and stuff, there's one more I'm going to mention, and it's called 321 by James Clear. Every Thursday, he sends out a newsletter. And in his newsletter, there's three things that are on there. The first thing in his newsletter is an idea. It always gives you like some thoughtful thing to like ponder on. The second thing is a quote. Always a great quote. And then the third thing is a question. And I was like, oh my gosh. So it's called 321 because it's an idea, a quote, and a question. It comes out every Thursday. I find that very helpful also.
Yeah.
It kind of gets you out of what's happening outside and kind of grounds you and brings you back in to like think about what's really going on inside of you and give you a focus of importance rather than all of this craziness. Because like you said with Rachel Maddow, if it was one topic for 3 days, or if it was 3 topics for 3 days, but it is like 12 new topics every day on those. It's like every day there's like dozens of things that are happening. And the next day it's not the same. It's something completely different. It's just like so hard to follow and stay on top of. So,
and James Clear is great. Yeah, I get his newsletter as well, and he's also the author of the book Atomic Habits, which I don't know if you've read that, but highly, just kind of thinking about resources, highly recommend that book. It's not geared towards gay or queer audiences, but again, for those of us trying to do new things in our lives, it's really about how do you break down things to its fundamental levels and start and create new habits. And it's about doing small little things.
Yes.
I mean, I read that book years ago, and that has stayed with me. It's like, what's the one little thing I can do? And you do enough little things and it adds up, it adds up, it adds up. I mean, look at where we are in our journeys, right? Look at where I am in my journey, that I'm sitting here today in my own place, living a dramatically different life than I was living 2 years ago. It didn't happen like that. It happened in small steps, small
Yes.
increments, taking the step, even when you're afraid to do it and saying, I'm going to do that next thing, and then that next thing, and then that next thing. And little by
Yeah.
little, those things add up.
Enough baby steps will take you to the top of Mount Everest, right?
Or give you a lot of babies. I don't know,
Yeah.
right?
Babies. Give you, oh, that's so funny. All right,
Uh-huh.
something I texted you about the other day, and I don't know if you had a chance to look at it or not, but South Park. Did you see
I
the new
I
episode?
know I when you know what, when you texted that to me, because I have to admit I am not a regular South Park
Me neither.
viewer.
Me neither.
Um, but I saw what you said, but I have not watched it. Have you, or you want
Okay.
to
So South
expound
Park,
upon
yeah.
what on that?
South Park, I mean, I don't know, was South Park from 15 plus years ago? It's a long time ago. I've done a little research, so I know a little bit more. South Park hasn't been on the air in several years. So the episode that just dropped, this is the week of July 27th. So the episode that dropped this week, they haven't had episodes in a couple of years. They just signed a $1.5 billion contract with Paramount. So now South Park was on Paramount. And evidently, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but there was some issues with Trump and Paramount, and there
Oh,
was a
really? I hadn't heard
lawsuit.
about those.
Yeah,
I hadn't heard about that.
there was a lawsuit.
And Stephen Colbert's cancellation had nothing to do with any of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so this episode of South Park was 100% geared towards just roasting the shit out of Donald Trump. And let me tell you, it was shocking. I have seen a lot of TV. I've never once been so uncomfortable in my skin thinking, how is this even humanly possible that this is allowed on TV? This is the president of the United States, and it is so sad that all these countries see us this way that South Park kind of depicted us in this episode. They have him naked. They have his penis talking to him. They have him in bed with the devil. They, it is just, it is.
All right. Well,
Oh
now
my
I know what
God.
I'm doing as soon as we finish our
You
recording
have to.
today.
Oh, and you could just go on social media. You could go on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram, whatever, and just type in South Park Trump, and you will just see clips of it. And it's all true, and it's very sad, but the fact that they got away with it, or that they're so far they have, I'm sure there's many lawsuits headed their direction, but it was
Well, clearly
very
these
ugly.
guys, I mean, I give them credit for
Yeah.
putting it out there and not caring, I mean,
Yeah.
that's, and listen, it's a tough environment right now to be out there and take a stand.
Yes.
And anybody that's doing that, I give all the credit in
Yes.
the world to.
Well, they're speaking truth, that our politicians are not showing
Yeah,
up and speaking
yeah.
truth
Well,
for.
that is true.
So, talks about the Epstein files. It talks about, are the list. Talks about
Yeah.
it. There was it. It didn't hold any punches at all. It was. It's. Yeah, I highly recommend it. And
Right.
episodes going forward, I know nothing about. Like I said, I've never been a South Park fan, but this was one of the
unless they get
ones.
unless they get canceled.
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, they've just made
how
$1.5
could that
billion
happen?
dollars if they get canceled.
Yeah, well, right, exactly. Well, the FCC has now approved the deal, so
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. All right. I recommend
anyway.
that. Yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
I did want to comment. Actually, we were talking about just kind of on this theme of the news and all the craziness going on. One of the questions I get, I mean, it's a common question when people ask you, "How are you?" Right? But especially with so many changes that have been happening in my life, people reach out, how are you? Right? Kind of like, really, how are you? And I find sometimes it's it's like, okay, it's like, all right, you want the short answer? It's like, I'm good, I'm great, it's
Yes.
like, but then I find at times, like, well, it's a really, really complicated answer.
Yes.
There are so many aspects of my life that are really good. Living my life as who I am, being in my own space, the fact that I am lucky to and privileged to have a great relationship with my wife still and my kids who are also a part of my life. In fact, today, I've got my niece and her partner who are flying in from the West Coast, coming to spend a few days here in New York, and I'm having them and my wife here to my place for dinner tonight. It's just like all that stuff is like just so, so wonderful.
Yes.
But then there's like all the stress because even with all that goodness, there are times I'm sitting here in my place now. There are times when I'm like, literally, be like, what the fuck have I done? What, what is this?
Well,
And there are times when I'll find myself feeling, oh my God, I am completely alone,
yes.
right? And that can be hard. There's a lot of things I miss. Um, so, I find that question of, I guess it's part of our humanity. It's like, how are you? It's like, well, that's multifaceted.
Yeah.
It's multifaceted. I mean, at the same time, it's like a lot of stress in the work and professional life these days with that, with everything going on, just the world in general. So I guess where I'm kind of, kind of going with that as we kind of think about all of our experiences. And I know you've had a lot of transition in your life, especially of late, and challenges. It's like, I don't know, for me, I just keep coming back to how do I find the good things right here, right now. And even in the midst of craziness, right? Yes, yesterday, for example, it was a beautiful day here. I was at a jazz festival, enjoying the day, enjoying the weather, enjoying the music, talking to some friends. And we were even kind of commenting, like, we were talking about the political situation, and we kind of came back to, but here we are enjoying the day at the same time. It's like these things, it can seem sometimes almost disingenuous to say, how can I enjoy myself when while the world's on fire?
Yeah.
But we have to still live our lives and find that balance. So anyway, I'm just going off on a
I,
soapbox here, but
I totally get it. Because when you and I got online, you asked me how I was, and I said, oh, I don't know if I'm ready to talk about it yet.
yeah,
I'm gonna, it's a huge question. And you're right. For some people, it's like, oh,
yeah,
I'm great. And then there's other people you're like, okay, if you really want to know, I'm really going to tell you. But, sometimes it's too heavy for other people. And
yeah,
sometimes you need to protect yourself. And
yes you do.
sometimes you're in a place of transition and you don't know. And it's like, I don't want to say something today that I'm going to regret saying
Yeah,
later. So I don't know.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
it's been quite the summer. This has been quite the 2025 for me so far. I feel like I thought 2024 was the end of what was happening for me, and now it's like I'm in 20 halfway through 2025, and I'm like, man, this is kicking my ass. I really went on this spiritual journey probably late 2020 to find myself, to become a better person, to find what was truly important versus, a job title or a status or a car
yeah,
or, whatever. It's like I thought, okay, my children are what's really important because I had lost so much of my life. And mental health is what's really important. And true friendships are what's really important. And I spent so much time fostering those. And at the same time, other parts of my life were dropping off and dropping off and dropping off. Thought I was done with that. And then I've had just a couple drop offs in my life recently that have really just kind of shook me. And I'm like, how much more can
Yeah.
I lose? It's like I'm ready to start building, but I moved. I had moved into my townhouse right when my wife and I had separated. And I was injured because, she was leaving me. I was having to move out. The gay wasn't even thought in my head at the time. And I moved into that space and I did a lot of healing in that space, but I kind of think I hit a wall. And I was reading a quote that said, you cannot heal in the place where you were injured. And I thought, oh, I had so much injury when I got there, personal, mental, emotional. And it's like, I grew so much, but maybe I wasn't going to be able to grow any more in that space.
Yeah.
And so to
Yeah.
have to let that go and move on and hoping that I've made the right decision. And now I'm in a new space where I didn't come here as injured and wounded as I went into my last space. And it's like, okay, I'm in a lighter, brighter, more thriving environment. And hopefully this is going to be something that moves me forward. So
Godspeed.
that's where I'm at.
And you know what it is? Kind of coming back to, I think, the theme of what we've been talking about today. Small steps, one thing at a
Yeah.
time, one day at a time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's, find the one small thing that moves you forward. That's the positive because it's there. It's there, even in the midst of everything else. These things can coexist.
Yes. But for some of us, there's this saying the universe pushes at you to change and it'll push and it'll
Yeah,
push and it'll give you a
yeah,
signal, give you a,
yeah,
and when you are not getting it, when you're like in a too dense of a space, the universe doesn't no longer, it's not tapping you on the shoulder, it like shoves you and you get thrust into something.
yeah,
And a lot of us will look at it and panic and be like, oh my God. But in actuality, I think there's so many blessings that have come with this move, as well as a lot of painful loss. There's blessings that come along with it. So a part of me, I think, was pushed out of my space.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Well, sometimes it's what it takes.
yeah.
And,
Yeah.
well, I'm glad we're back here. And,
Yes. We're going to do every other week. I think we're agreeing that for right now, we're going to line up a couple guests and we're going to release a podcast every other Tuesday.
every 2 weeks. Yeah. So be on the lookout for more new episodes. And again, everybody, please give us your thoughts, your comments, your feedback. You can write to us at cominginsideout@gmail.com and be sure to like and give us any ratings on any of your favorite podcast apps. That helps us to continue to grow the audience. And we want to keep doing this for all of you.
Yes. Thank you so much. All right.
Right.
It's good to see you, Mark. We'll talk
You
soon.
too. All right, Brian. Okay.